bids are in, the gavel's dropped, ladies and gentlemen. Here at WineBid, we are finally hammered. That's right. This is WineBid's podcast dedicated to all things wine value, wine retail, wine auctions, and just wine. My name is Jeff McGurn. I'm on the WineBid marketing team. With me, as always, is Paul Walker, the Wizard of Wine. That's right. Paul's our wine expert. He knows everything there is to know about wine.
Wrong.
So what we're doing this week is going over the auction recap. We're going to talk about everything that happened this week and what the heck is going on in the wine world. Let's start with a 2019 Emmerich Schönleber Munzinger Hallenberg Riesling Grosses Gewachs, number 14. This one, we had 3 of them. 21 people were watching. It started at 50. 9 bids took it to $64 a bottle. So a little bit of action there on some nice Riesling. 2019, so we've got a recent release, which says to me it's probably retailing for far north of the $50, probably far north of the $64, or it's just exceedingly difficult to get, but love me some of that Grosses Gewachs. I thought I'd mention.
Did you bid on some? Is that what you're saying? Did you?
No, I didn't. Yeah. I didn't bid on this. I tend to go for the older stuff when it comes to Riesling because I like it in its drinking window, and I like some nice aged Riesling. I know you don't like aged wine at all. You prefer stuff that's just out of the barrel. I'm
a futurist. I'm drinking the future.
You're drinking the future. I thought I'd mention we had 11 of these 1993 Frog's Leap Winery Cabernet Sauvignons go for about $37.
Yeah, I mean, it started at 30, so that's a good deal.
That's a great deal.
There was a lot of older California in last week. A lot of really interesting, well kept, classic producer wine, and this is inexpensive. I mean, Frog's Leap's any Napa winery that's been around for this long is going to be, their release price has got to be north of $75 for their estate cab or Napa Valley
for
cab
sure.
or whatever. And so $30 on this to start. It's probably drinking great, and it's still a deal, right? They all hammered it about $35-$36 a piece.
Yeah, can you even get Frog's Leap Cabernet Sauvignon for that?
I don't think so. Maybe no.
That just seems.
You might be able to get Sauvignon Blancs for that, but not the Cabernet.
Going back to Riesling, we're talking about, like I said, I like the old stuff. We had this 99 Keller Dalsheimer Übacher Riesling Trockenbeeren Auslese, number 42. This is a half bottle. Started at $75, and 7 bids took it to $385. Now, if you had bought 1,000 cases.
Here he goes, Jeff's wine investment advice.
if you bought 1,000 cases of this
Wizard wine investor
at $70 a bottle, the last time it was $70 a bottle. I'm just saying
it was never 70. It was, I think it was underpriced.
It was never $70 a bottle.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of a funny business going on there with the pricing. But anyway, it needless to say, it hammered where it was supposed to, I think. And at that got many bids. A lot of it's Keller. It's Keller from the age before it was a big deal, and I don't know the history of what's happening here at the winery, all the various incarnations that have occurred there. But rare stuff, half bottle Trockenbeeren Auslese, it's always going to be sought after. So that was not surprising. $385.
We also had 19 Wittmann. Westhoffener.
Another Grosses Gewachs. Yeah. Wow. A lot of action on German wines last week.
Oh, that's what I was just going to say. Like 3 of the 4 top bid getters last week were Rieslings, which I mean, okay, a part of me is like, that's really cool because I love Riesling. And a part of me is like, that sucks because I love Riesling. and
still plenty of deals though. Still plenty of deals.
I feel like there's a lot of room for growth because there's so much value in the Riesling market, right? Like just great wines, and they just don't seem to fetch the prices that you get in other regions, which is great for all of us.
And that's been the case for as long as I've been here, which is a long time. So there's always been a lot of value. I think that with things like Grosses Gewachs, designations happening, which we didn't see 10, 15, 20 years ago, with probably some exceptions. I'm, again, not an expert, even though Jeff likes to say that every time.
You're an expert. Yes, he
so,
is. Thank you for that expert opinion.
Jeff, you should research the history of Grosses Gewachs designation and the trend towards, interest in drier style wines from Germany, because I think that is a major, is a sort of it piques a lot of people's interest. And these wines have become more rare. I do think there's some like pretty amazing marketing going on too. But in any event, the wines have become more, let's just say, more mainstream in the auction world. If you like, this is a perfect example, right? The three, like you say, top bid wines, they're not wines you can readily find. And they're probably, like you say, I would imagine any of the GG wines recent releases are going to be probably north of $50. So yeah, that's, they're still rare sought after wines. But then you go back to the auction and look and see there's like plenty of like cabinets and Spätlers and everything else for $25, $35. So still tons of deals.
So here's the thing. It is not an official part of German wine law, Grosses Gewachs, right? Mm-hmm. But, essentially the best vineyards, according to the VDP classification system, it's overseen by a group of producers, right? So there are some rules around it. And we know that they take the name of the vineyard and not the village. The being a part of this is by you have to get an invitation. It's like invite only, right? And my understanding is around 200 producers, right? And I guess that if correct me if I'm wrong here, because I know you've done all the research, in order to get that grade, your yields can't exceed 50 hectoliters.
I don't know. I have no idea. You have to do some serious Googling because I have no idea. They have to be dry, though. I do know that.
They have to be dry. They do have to be dry. So let's talk about this one. I thought was really cool. This is a good deal. The 2014 Chateau Belgrave, 6 bids took it from $15 to $25.
That's a steal.
I think it's a good deal. Yeah, it's still a really good deal.
$15. Like,
yeah, even at $25, I'm like, it's got a little bit of age on 9 years of age. It's probably drinking great right now.
It's got a suckling 93 too. It's a great score.
We had some great stuff. I mean, there was this 2014 Clawview Taillefer, Taillefer, three of them. They started at 15 and they ended up hammering like just below $20 a piece. Again, good deals there. We had this 85 Brucot Brut Grand Cru Cuvée Arthur Brucot. This one, 5 bids. We had 2 of them. 5 bids took him from $60 to selling for like $87 a piece.
Cuvée Arthur Brucot. Yeah, that's a rare one. I do not know this producer. And yeah, an 85. And it's hard to tell from, I was kind of looking at the label up close just to see, if it was something that was late disgorged or, more recently released from the winery. It's really kind of hard to tell because the bottle and the foil and everything is in really, really good shape. So it almost looks like, it was something that wasn't released for, I don't know. I mean, it could be 10, 20 years going as far as release, but I don't know. It's another one that's quite rare to me. New one to me.
This one I thought was super interesting because I feel like it's always interesting to me to see movement on stuff that we see come through more often, right? We had the 73 Mouton, which we had at auction for $470. Usually you don't see a ton of action on first growths just because we get them in enough. And so they tend to be priced like our pricing. We're priced so well, I think, because of all the data that we have, and our team does a great job of pricing, that you don't see a ton of action on a lot of stuff because it's usually priced right at market, right on the reserve.
Right.
This one, though, started at $470. 5 bids took it to $510. So I think that's kind of it's interesting to see movement like that and action like that on a first growth like Mouton, attributed to the fact that we're in 2023. This is in 1973, so it's a nice 50th birthday bottle gift. And we had 5 people out there who know people who are turning 50 or 50 this year. So, so they're searching for these bottles, but it's interesting to see.
I'm aiming towards that, the fact that it's,
birth year
73 first growth. And I just, exactly. It's something that, I'll be half years over already, but I don't believe we've seen a tremendous amount of 73. It's not something that pops up. There's always, almost always something, I should say, from early 70s vintages, with a couple of exceptions, because some of them are pretty rough. But just looking back, there's been
March was the last time we saw
amount. Well, I'm looking at pretty much everything, but Latour was in this month a little earlier, a couple times. So there's been a few. And then like you say, March for the Mouton, and let's see, March for Lafite as well. But not that often. So, and those were in the first week last week as well. It was the first time they were up. So I'm sure people are like, oh shoot, grab these. We got to get this for so-and-so's birthday. And it is interesting to see them get bid up a little bit as well. But wait till 10 years from now, right? They'll probably be
are people in their 60-year-olds.
Now,
they have a little bit more disposable income.
That's a tricky vintage though. So, it not sure how well it's drinking, but I've had 73 Mouton, but it's been quite a few years.
2016 Oakville Ranch Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon, 5 bids from 35 to 62.
Well, that's cheap, right? $35 for. Oakville Ranch is not, like some of its neighbors in that neck of the woods. That's a steal, right? The other one that I thought was a steal were these 2 half bottles of 2018 Staglin Chardonnay. Yeah, I thought of you when I saw that. I was like, oh,
they were priced like $20
one of Jeff's
a piece.
favorite wines. You love Staglin.
I love Staglin. It's good stuff. How come you don't like Staglin? I think it's delicious.
I never said I didn't like it. Every time I don't say something positive about something, you assume I think the worst of it, which is a common fallacy. But
you said you don't like Staglin. You didn't.
I never said I don't like Staglin. That
was the context. You telegraphed to me that it's not your thing. Okay, but
nonsense.
It's delicious stuff. Look, $20 for a split, I think, is a phenomenal deal for Staglin.
Well, yeah,
sure.
I'm guessing. Knowing the price of their cabs at the winery, I'm guessing the Chardonnay is not inexpensive.
Yeah,
and this is the estate. I assume it's like the estate wine.
Do they have?
It is. It is. Yeah. It is. So it looks like
it is estate. I'm not sure they make. Do they make non-estate Chardonnay?
Wine Searcher is claiming $90 for the 18
for a bottle
at retail, and community average value, believe it or not auction value, but average community value is $123 for the 18 Chardonnay. So half bottles at how much they go for? They end up going for like 30.
Yeah,
29, $37.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. This is the estate, and then they've got Salas. So
the estate Chardonnay is expensive. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Salas community average is about 50 on Solid Tracker. And you're right. So
and it's from Rutherford too. There's not a lot of Chardonnay in Rutherford for the wine country. So that's
even
not expensive or not cheap to make, excuse me.
Not cheap to make, but they sold for $29 and $37 respectively. And even at that, I still think that's a steal for Staglin Estate Chardonnay.
Yeah, right? It's not bad. No, not compared to what supposedly
at the winery or bottle.
Retail.
It's the average price. I thought interesting was this 2020 Thierry et Pascal Matreau Pouligny Montrachet Les Chalumeau. We had 2 of those started at 50, hammered at $93 a piece.
Yeah, 2020 whites, great Great Whiteberg vintage. Metro's a serious producer. So that seemed to be a little inexpensive at 50. Anything from Puy Marché, a permanent cru vineyard in Puy Marché. That's still, I think, even at what did Hammer for? What did you say? 75? No, excuse me, 93, right?
93.
Yeah, that's expensive, but that's what they're going for. That's what they're going for.
Let's talk about some of our heavy hitters.
Okay.
We had this 78 Beaulieu Vineyard, Georges de Latour Private Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon Mag, went for 400, and we only had one hammer in 2013 that was higher.
Was that a large format again?
That was a Mag. That was a 1.5 liter.
It was of 78.
78, yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't see that. In fact,
I think I actually picked that one because I felt like it was a fairly reasonable price, all things considered. We had 09 Bond and an 05 Bond Matriarch. The 09 Bond 5-bottle horizontal wooden case went for $1,670, which was the most recent hammer was $1,400 in April at another competitor who shall remain nameless. 05 Bond Matriarch 3-bottle lot OWC $635, and that was the highest hammer in over a year, right? So the most recent hammer was $853.
For the second label, that's getting up there. Bond's had a lot of increase in price. We've seen a lot of it over the last few weeks, but it's moving. It's moving. People are going after it because I feel like it was underpriced at auction for a long time, and now things are really jumping.
What do you make
of this? The prices on Bond are not going down.
No, Bond seems to be coming up, and Bond is not like Bond. I mean, we see it come in, but I don't feel like we ever really get a bevy of Bond. I feel like it kind of trickles in for the most part, like, a few bottles at a time.
There's a fair amount in right now. I mean, there's 36 items in Bond in auction right now.
Is there really?
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
I guess I feel like it's not like Cinecanon where like, we get Cinecanon in and I feel like it's like 20 bottles at a time, 30 bottles at a time versus Bond is a few here and there. And maybe there was a bevy that came in and I just totally missed it. That's entirely possible. What do you make of this 96 Bryant family vineyard Cabernet Sauvignon that hammered for $540?
Yeah, that's a lot. It's getting tougher and tougher to find the mid-90s Bryant wines and a lot of other kind of, for lack of a better term, cult wines of the era. I don't remember I know that Helen Turley was involved in the 94, which is unbelievably, sought after and rare and great, actually. But the 96 it's still kind of in that, it's in that era. So it's tough to come by those bottles these days. That is a pretty serious price.
Very serious price. 2020 Le Chaux Bourgogne LaCroix Blanche.
Yeah, more of the Chaux Le Chaux wines. Those things keep they keep going bonkers.
645. Yeah. 645. 05 Aubryon Mag for 1520. And that's the highest hammer in the past year. Most recent, we saw at another auction house at 1266. So could be some movement on that Aubryon 05. Great year. 57 Lafite for 1895 and 61 Latour Split for 1825. And then a 98 Dujac 645, that's the Chambertin. 15 Gougal Côte Rôtie La Landon for 415. A lot of really interesting stuff. Schaefer, 2018 Schaefer Vineyards Hillside Select Cabernet Sauvignon 6-bottle lot OWC for 2040.
Yeah, it's going up. That stuff is, it's not cheap. I mean, it's still top contender in Napa, and always still gets really, really high scores too. So not surprising.
Other ones, speaking of ones that are going up, 2019 Sloan Proprietary Red for 460. So that one's climbing. Not to mention the Pierre Peters Blanc de Blanc, Les Mesnil Cuvée.
Chatillon. Yeah. O2 Chatillon. I think I mentioned that last week.
You did.
Yeah. And it's, that stuff's so good, but it's I mean, it's well, in the same vein, Uly's Colan, the 60 month.
We talked about that. So we talked about 60 mois.
503, man. That is no joke. I think that's got to be a record for any Uly's Colan wine we've ever sold. That's really up there.
The one that I thought was interesting was this non-vintage ZD Abacus Cabernet Sauvignon, 22nd bottling at $425, right?
No, ZD Abacus is consistently very, very expensive. I mean, it costs a fortune, I think, from the winery. If you get an allocation of it on the mailing list, it's really expensive, but ever cheap. It's not like one of those, wines that we mentioned where it's like, oh yeah, this is a great deal at auction. It's 400 up for sure, and it's really, really good because it's got this one. I don't know how many vintages, the 22nd bottling, if it means it has 22 vintages, and I think it actually has more. But anyway, it's it's impressive stuff.
It's no joke. The only other one that I'll mention is this 2015 Armand Rousseau Chambertin that we had in auction that actually got some action on it. It had two bids, started at $29.40, hammered at $38.40.
Wow.
That's a jump, because we last saw this in April. This went in April for $2,940, which means if you had bought 1,000 cases of this wine in April at $2,940, you would have $10 million in profit.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck finding more than.
Good luck finding 1,000 cases. Did they even make 1,000 cases?
I don't think so. No. No.
I'm just saying.
that was impressive. O2 Lake Clos from Ravenel got bid up as well. Did it get bid up? No, there were just three of them. But anyway, it's still $18.95. It's that's a serious price. Pushing the 2K mark there for 20-year-old Lake Clos. It's pretty wild.
That's pretty wild. And that's all I have. So with that, this has been Jeff McGurn and Paul Walker wishing you happy bidding and cheers.
Cheers.